Alright boys, here's what's going down. So I have installed Sway because I needed to test Sway, and the documentation is incorrect. So I'm fixing that. So what happened was OBS doesn't work correctly on Sway if you just read the old instructions. So I've added new instructions that seem to have fixed it. As you can tell, I'm recording on Sway right now. But what I've added is two things. So I've got a whole thing on my GitHub for for configuring Pipewire and Sway for OBS with SDDM, but the directions are you actually need to do the wrong. So yeah. So this is my configuration for Sway to work with OBS, but I use SDDM because I switch between Sway and Mate. So and DWM at this point. So I've written instructions though that the last two things I changed, because here's what you need. You need the desktop entry that says XUG current desktop equals Sway. Maybe, I don't actually know if you need this, it might already be set, but I said it anyways. I did add one of these two things, is what really changed it, is I installed Qt WebKit, and I added so my use flags right now are Pulse Audio, Pipewire, Wayland, Screencast, GStreamer, and Glez2. Now, Screencast didn't seem to work, but I added GStreamer and Glez2 and installed Qt WebKit, and that seems to have fixed it. In OBS, you set these two use flags, this is already in the documentation. And in Sway config, because I use Pulse Audio, that's just what came pre-configured with Mate. I need to get MLO to change that to Pipewire though, because that's going to be a problem when I switch over to Wayfire. But I've added this exec no startup. This is all in the documentation too already. But that's what I've added, and these two things, the GStreamer Glez2 and Qt WebKit may have changed it. And one of those two things seems to have fixed it. But all this is everything I've done so far. So I've added these three use flags and Qt WebKit. Yeah, and a merge Qt WebKit. So if you're willing to test that for me, because I've got a dirty setup since I use Mate. So, and I don't use Pipewire as my default audio server or whatever, or as my audio server with emulated Pulse Audio. So if you're willing to test that, please let me know and edit the documentation accordingly, or just tell me what needs to be changed and I'll do it. But so far, this should get you a working OBS setup, along with the I don't want to open a page right now. But if you look at this way, documentation. Wait. So that would be in. I think I had it in. Screen sharing does not work. This was the other thing. So this with the XUG portal WLR. Oh yeah, I need to add that to the documentation too. And dbus should this should be in your config. So hopefully it works. I've gotten screen recording and microphone to work on OBS on Sway, so I'm gonna test it on Hyperlin next, because that was the last thing I needed to do was install Hyperlin. So I'll let you know if I get that working. Thanks, and I'll update the documentation accordingly if not. Thank you.